In this video, we'll learn how to solve for x using the quadratic formula. So here we have the quadratic formula, which is x is equivalent to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then you're going to use the quadratic formula when you're supposed to solve for x from a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. So let's say if we had x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equivalent to 0, we could plug it into the quadratic equation. Here, a is just 1, b is 2, and c is 1, as you can see. And a is 1 because if it wasn't 1 and it was 0, then there would be an x squared here. So now we could just plug it into the quadratic formula. Remember, the quadratic formula is negative b, so in this case negative 2, plus or minus square root of b squared, which is just 4, minus 4 times a times c, so 1 times 1, which is just 1. So all this cancels out into 0. And then the square root of 0 is just, again, 0. And this is all over 2a. So a is 1, so we'll just get 2. And this would simplify to negative 2 over 2, which is just negative 1. And in this example, x is equivalent to negative 1. So I'll give you more examples now. So if we had, let's say, 2x squared plus 4x minus 48 is equivalent to 0. So if we're supposed to solve for x in this, we could plug it into the quadratic equation. So again, the quadratic formula. So here, a is 2, b is 4, and c is negative 48. So now let's plug it in. So we'll get negative b, so negative 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared, minus 4 times a times c. So 2 times negative 48 is negative 96. And negative 4 times negative 96 plus, since it's negative 4 and negative 96, then if you multiply into each other, then it's going to be plus. And then negative 4 times negative 96 plus 16 is 20. So let's just put it at the end after we solve the bottom. So here it'll be 2 times a, so then it would be 4, and then here it would be 20. So let's go into this. Negative 4 plus or minus 20, because the square root of 400, which is just 20, over 4. So now we can get two answers for x. So x can be equivalent to negative 4 plus 20 divided by 4, or negative 4 minus 20 divided by 4. So our first x value would be negative 4 plus 20 divided by 4, which is, so negative 4 plus 20, which is 16 divided by 4, is just 4. And then negative 4 minus 20, which is negative 24 divided by 4, is negative 6. So these are our final solutions. Okay, I'll give two last examples. So if we had x squared minus 9x plus 20 is equivalent to 0, now we can plug it in the quadratic formula again. So we'll get negative b, so a is 1, b is negative 9 here, c is 20, so let's plug it in now. So we'll get negative b, so negative, so the negative of negative 9, which is just positive 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is just 81, minus 4 times a times c. So a times c is 20, and then all of this over 2a. So 2a here is just 2, and all of this simplifies to 9 plus or minus. Well, let's see. The square root of 81 minus 4, negative 4 times 20. Well, negative 4 times 20 is negative 80, and then 81 times 80 is just 1. So the square root of 1 is just 1 over 2. So we can get 9 plus 1 over 2, or 9 minus 1 over 2. So let's try the first. So let's just try 9 plus 1 over 2. Well, 9 plus 1 is 10, and then divided by 2 is 5. So we'll get x is equivalent to 5, or 9 minus 1, which is 8, divided by 2 is just 4. Okay, let's try our last example. So, okay, so let's do our last example. So let's say we have 4x squared plus 4x minus 8 is equivalent to 0. How would we do this? So it's the same thing again. A is equivalent to 4, B is equivalent to 4, and C is negative 8. Now let's plug it into the quadratic formula. Negative B, so negative 4, plus or minus the square root of B squared, so square root of B squared, minus 4 times A times C. So 4 times negative 8 is negative 32, and all of this over 2a, which is just 8. So now let's simplify. This will be equivalent to negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 plus, I think that's 128, and then 128 plus 16 is just 144, so 144, and the square root of 144 is just 12, so 12, and all of that over 8. So we have our first solution, which would be x is equivalent to negative 4 plus 12 divided by 8. So negative 4 plus 12 is 8, and then divided by 8 is just 1, and negative 4 minus 12, which is negative 16 divided by 8 is negative 2. And those are our final answers. Thanks for watching.